Okay, today we're going to do a little lesson on sine function, the periodic function. So if you remember from yesterday or from Monday, periodic function is a function that repeats itself. So if we were to scroll down here quick here, there'd be a periodic function, something that repeats itself. And the sine function has a particular look at it. So that's what we're going to kind of take a look at first, but then we're going to learn how to do some different stuff off it. So to get started, we're going to do the old Freddy the Frog mill wheel ride. So if we think about it, one second here, if we put a frog, let me get a picture of a frog here real quick. Put him in there. Oh, come on. Let's put him right there. Let's try again here. Good. I'm going to make Freddy a little bit smaller, of course, because I don't need something that big. Smaller, smaller, smaller. Good. So, I got old Freddy here. This video's off to an amazing start. I have Freddy the Frog here. Once I grab him. Okay. Let's pretend this is a water wheel. So if you think about old mills where the water would push a wheel around, this is what it looks like. And we probably need a picture of that for you young folks. Let's look here for a water wheel. So, taking a look at something like this. Okay? How do we take Freddy on this one? So, now let's pretend the water is halfway up our water wheel, along the lines of this one. So the water is halfway up, and Freddy is riding the wheel, and it's going to go around this way as it goes. Okay? It's going to be traveling counterclockwise. So we have Freddy here, and he's going to be going slowly around the wheel like this. Okay? And he's going to go underwater, blah, 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 up, around, and over. And he's going to continue doing this. Okay? Now, Freddy's what you call a nerd frog. And Freddy's interested in figuring out where he is in coordination to the height of above the water. And we're assuming this here is the water line here. Okay? So Freddy, as he goes around, is really interested in where am I in the case of above the water in all my cases, or below the water. Okay? So Freddy sets out to do that. Freddy, let's put Freddy at the very top right now. Okay? So Freddy figures out his wheel is 1 meter radius. Okay? So this is 1 meter radius here. Okay? And he's going to take a section every 30 centimeters. 30 degrees, sorry. So this is 30. His next one will be 60, 90, 120, and so on and so forth as he goes around. Now he's interested for his height. So he's wondering about how high am I above here? So of course you see this is a right angle. Okay? And if we're doing SOHCAHTOA, sine theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. Now in this case my hypotenuse is always 1, since that's my angle. Right? So let's do the first one here. So we're going to go down and make a little chart for old nerd Freddy here. So we're going to go angle traveled. So the first angle we're going to travel is 30 degrees. Okay. So let's write out the sine that we're going to figure out the height. Okay. So that is sine 30 equals, now if we do our opposite over adjacent, opposite's going to be h, so that's our unknown, over 1. I'm going to take you over here. I'm going to do it up here again. Sine 30 equals x for height over 1. If we rearrange this, it's going to be 1 times sine 30 equals at the height. Let's change that to height so we're consistent. So all I'm going to do is plug into my calculator and make sure it's on degrees. Sine 30. Okay? So sine 30 says to old Freddy, he's 0.5 over the water. And if we were to write this in an ordered pair, we would write 30 as in our degrees, comma 0.5. So let's do the next one. The next one's 60. So 60 is going to go here. Then we're going to have sine 60. Now we only have to do sine 60 because we know we're just going to times it by 1 when we rearrange this formula. So what's sine 60 here? Sine 60 equals 0.87. 0.87. And my ordered pair is going to be 60, comma 0.87. Good. And then the next one we're going to do is 90. Now, I want you to go through and finish this chart. Then what you're going to do is you're going to graph the, rotate that left. You're going to graph this for me. So for example, if I was doing the first, I can do the first 2 points here. 30.5, 60. I'm going to go up to 0.86. Let's say it's about there. Spoiler alert, 90 is, oops, I did that point wrong. Erase that point. 90, oops, 60 is about there, and 90 is 1. Okay, and you complete this chart here for Freddy's whole time round. Okay, so hopefully get to 360 by the time you get to the end of it. Filling this chart in, and then graph it and connect your lines. So pause this right now, then restart it when everyone's done. Okay, so hopefully you restarted or you've cheated and you haven't done anything. So you should have this done now, okay? And this should look a little bit like this. Okay, so I've done 2 rotations here. Right, there's your information, 0.5, and you start to begin to see a pattern here. So you should have something that looks a little like this. Okay, where this is your angle along this side and this is your height. So we're going to go over the key features again of this. Now we did some of these key features the other day, but let's keep going over it. So period. Period is how long it takes to repeat the pattern from peak to peak or trough to trough. So in this case, our period, if we take a look from here, is from here, 90 to 450. Or I could even look from here, from 0 until it gets back there, 360. So in our case here, if we go back to our graph, right, our period is going to be 360, right? Now what's our max? If we take a look at the graph here, what's our max? If we follow along, our max appears to be 1, right? So 1, and what's our min? Our minimum is -1. So what we're doing right now is we're getting the characteristics of a standard sine curve, the function x of sine x. Okay, we're just getting the standard sine curve. So we've done period, we've done max, we've done min. Now, axis of a curve is something we didn't do yesterday. Okay? So axis of a curve is the horizontal line that goes through the middle. So in this case, this line right here that goes through the middle. Now it's quite obvious which one this one is, but later on it won't be. So the way you do this is you add your max and min and divide by 2. So in this case, I would go 1 plus -1, right? And that equals 0. 0 divided by 2 equals 0. So my axis of the curve here is 0, which is pretty obvious right now if we take a look here. Now my amplitude, I have a little formula here for amplitude. It's max minus my minimum divided by 2. So I'm going to go max, which is 1, minus my minimum, which is -1. So that's going to equal actually 2, right? Negative and negative make a positive. They're going to divide this by 2, which equals 1. So my amplitude is 1, which kind of makes sense here because from the middle goes up 1, then down 1, up 1, down 1. Okay? But there's the formula for it. Oh, there's the formula for it right there on your page. But if you ever kind of slice it, your graph in half and have a middle that can go up the equal amount as it goes down, you're good to go. Now everyone's favorite, domain, right? So if we take a look here, if Freddy starts riding here, he's never going to stop. And hypothetically, go back in time. And you never know how long how Freddy's been there. He could be alive, he could not be. So Freddy, his domain is x is any real number. Now his range is a little different. The highest Freddy gets is 1. The lowest he gets is -1. So if I wanted to do the regular item where I go y such that, and let's go here, so it's his max is -1. So any number, oh, let's go -1. So greater than -1 and less than or equal to 1, comma, x is any real number. Now, right now I'm not really concerned whether you can put it in brackets as such. If you can just explain x can be any real number and between -1 and 1 right now, I'm happy. So that is our standard curve for this guy right here. Okay? So we have all our descriptors there. So now, let's do another one. I want you to take a look at this. I want you to figure out if you can figure out these answers ahead of time. So pause it here for a couple minutes, discuss with your partners, and figure out if you can answer the questions. Okay, we're back. So first things first, it's not a perfect graph because I don't have it landing exactly. So if you get a close number for some of these things, I'm happy. The questions on tests will be perfect. So my period, so how long to go from one to another. So I'm going to do the peaks here. So I'm going to mark it there and about there. And we're going to take a look here, and every one of these squares appears to be 1. So if I go from here, that's about 1.5. And that's about 6, 7, 8. Let's make it 7.5, just for nice sake. So the difference between 1.5 and 7.5 is about 6, right? So I could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over. Now my maximum here, if I look up, it's going to about here. So that's 6, 7, 8. So my maximum is 8, and my minimum is 0. So my axis of a curve now. So if I go back up to my formula, it's max plus min divided by 2. Okay? So my max is 8 plus my min. That equals 8. Then divide this by 2, which equals 4. So which means if I were to put a line that cut this in half, I put it at 4, like so. Then my amplitude is max minus min divided by 2. So max minus min equals 8, then divide that by 2, which equals 4. We can double check that right now. And go, okay, does it go up 4? 1, 2, 3, 4, yes. Do we go down 4? 1, 2, 3, 4, yes. So those just happen to be both 4. Now domain, generally for a sign, it's always, and we'll just do words this time, it could be any real number. So it goes on and on and on. But my range, I'm going too fast, I know that, because it's 10:30 at night tonight, I'm making this. You can pause it anytime you wish. My range, my max is 8, my minimum's 0. So I could say up to or equal to 8 and as low as 0. Now if you can write that in terms, that'd be wonderful. And if we did do it in terms, this is pretty much always, oh, that's the worst bracket ever. So x is any real number for domain. And then for y, we do y such that, and we can make these two symbols ahead of time and just read it backwards. Y is any real number. And so y is greater than what? Well, y is going to be greater than 0. And it's going to be less than 8. Okay, last practice one. So pause it. You guys give it a try for a couple minutes. And I'll come back and make sure you're all correct. So let's take a peek here. Our period. So I'm going to take 2 spots, or 2 high spots. And let's just make that right there. So this is, looks like about 2 per. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So that means 2, that's going to be about 3 here. And this is going to be 2, 4, 6. So let's rotate that back and say it's half there. So that's 5. So what's the difference between these two? Oh, that's not 5. What am I doing? That is 2, 4, it's 15. 15. So the difference between these two is 12. And realistically, we could count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 between 2 spots. So you just count sideways as well. Now our max this time, these are 2 as well. So 2, 4, 1. So that's 15 there. So our max is going to be 15. Now our minimum goes down to 2, 3, but negative 3. So let's do our equation now. For this one, you add them. It's 12, and 12 divided by 2 equals 6. So if I were to drop in my line here, oops, 2, 4, 6, there is my axis of the curve. And it looks about right. I'd always kind of recommend drawing it in so you kind of take a look and see if it looks right. Then my amplitude is going to be minus this, right? So it's 15 minus -3, which equals 18. Then we take that 18 and we divide it by 2, which equals 9. So my amplitude is 9, so let's check that. So if we go from here up, 2, 4, 6, 8, up a half, 9. Perfect. And we can go down as well. 2, 4, 6, 8, half, be 9. Perfect. And our domain again. So as always, a sign here is the domain is going to be any real number. So x is any real number. And then our range is a high of 15, a low of -3. So we could do, let's make this x such that, we can put the, so y, we put the y in here and put our symbols in first. Then we could figure out what we're doing. Y is any real number. Good. So now it's y is greater than, so I'm going to put my low value here. So it's greater than or equal to -3, and it's less than 15. Right, so that's today's lesson. Your job now is to continue to do these 3. If you need to finish off your test, you have time right now to do that. This one here doesn't have a graph yet, so you're going to have to graph it, right? What I would suggest here, oh, wrong one, shoot, I've lost your questions. There we go. There would be a scale that I would use for that last question. 2 to 16 and 30 through 360. Because this down here is going to be my, oops, delete that, days of the year, and then here is going to be hours. Okay, so you're going to have to graph it and then go from there. Okay, so you can finish your test, work on this, and it should be good to go. And hopefully you enjoyed this, because you'll probably get another one tomorrow. Have a great day. Stop my video. Don't tell me I wasn't recording.